So last day of the month, it has flown by like wow, like a rocket. Yeah, it's the last day of the bloody month, and we are going to do something that I've not done in well over a year, maybe longer. We've not done one of these videos in so long, mainly just due to a lack of interest on my part. But today I have a lot of interest with I can't even tip this. Somebody said on a previous video in the comments that a conspiracy theory was that the cup was empty. Honestly, I wish my coffee addiction was made up and the cup was empty. That'd be brilliant. But no, unfortunately, I have to have at least 2 of these in the morning before I am fully functional for the day. I'm not picky about my coffee though, that is the one thing I can say. Sorry guys. Like, I prefer just an Asda's own or a Lidl's own coffee to like your Costas and your Starbucks, like fancy chairs. That's just my opinion anyway. Yes, apologies for the lighting. It's pretty dull outside, so I was working with indoor lights. Yeah, so on Friday I made the drastic choice to sign up for the Saturday, for the WWE Network. That is World Wrestling Entertainment Network, because they was showing the Royal Rumble on Saturday evening, early hours of Sunday morning in the UK. The Royal Rumble 2023. Now, out of all the wrestling, I was a massive wrestling fan as a kid, like huge, up until my teenage years. I have done wrestling videos on here. When I got back into it for a little bit, I then stopped doing it because I lost a lot of interest in wrestling. Over the last year, or the last 12 months, this is how my wrestling sort of experience has gone. Right now there's about 6 weeks or 7 weeks of AEW on my TiVo box. One day soon I'll just watch them. I don't know when. Might be over a few days or whatever. By then there'll be about 10 episodes of Dynamite and 10 of Rampage. I don't really bother with Rampage, to be fair. Every week NXT records. I pretty much just delete it. I tried watching it the other day, and I don't know what the hell they've done to it now. It's bloody awful. NXT is horrible to watch. Not so much the matches, but the in-between bit. Oh my god. So I'll just delete NXT. It's just set to record anyway. Then at least if there's anything decent on there at some point I can watch it. Then Raw and SmackDown, I wind through pretty much the whole lot until I get to the bit I'm looking for. Well, there's a couple of bits. If Seth Rollins is on the TV, I'll usually watch that. But no, I will always go looking for Roman and Sami Zayn. Clearly, if it's Sami and Heyman backstage, if it's Sami out by the ring with Usos, Solo Sikoa, Roman, the Bloodline, anything at all to do with them, I look for that, and then I make a point of watching that, and then I'll delete the show. I'll be honest, if Bray's on there, I'll wind through it. The promos are so long and boring, for me anyway. But we'll get into Bray and his character in a bit. So yeah, I obviously knew, I've been following the Bloodline and Sami Zayn story all along. I knew a big payoff could be coming at the Rumble. I didn't think they'd wait until WrestleMania to give us the breakup. So I had to watch it. So I signed up for the WWE Network on Saturday. I watched it on Sunday morning through very tired eyes. I was watching it on like 4 hours skip, and I kept falling asleep for the first like hour and a half of the show. So I went back and rewatched it last night, wide awake thankfully, after a few more of these. If you can hear any noisy kids, I apologise. We've got neighbours who have way too many kids for it to be normal, and they like to scream and shout, do my heading basically. Sounds like they're in a Royal Rumble at the minute. Anyway, we're going to just talk today about the show. Like I said, I've done these before. My plan going forward is there'll be more wrestling content. I am planning, as it stands, to keep the network, and thus I will be previewing and reviewing pay-per-views. I won't be bothering with Raw and SmackDown and that stuff, but to review them anyway. I'll just give you my predictions and make like little reviews of the pay-per-views, and that's the way we're going to go forward. See if the kids have left yet. So I'll come back to you in just a minute once the racket calms down. Okay, let's get on with the review of the show. Let's just see if we can adjust this lighting a little bit, because I'm a little bit pink right now inside. I don't know why that happens. It's just the daylight outside is really crap. Anyway, we'll move and groove with it. So, the Royal Rumble. It has all changed a lot over the years. I don't know why, but I do kind of know why they changed some of it. So when I was a kid, you didn't get the Women's Royal Rumble, clearly. There wasn't much for women's division when I was a young kid. Now you get a Men's Royal Rumble and a Women's Royal Rumble, plus some matches. When I was a kid, you'd get 3 or 4 matches, usually with a WWE title match leading into the Royal Rumble. The winner of the Rumble would then face the winner of the title match at WrestleMania. That's still the general idea, but the Men's Rumble went on first this year. That was the very first thing we've seen on the whole pay-per-view, before any other matches. Now, I get the reasoning. You open the show with a bang, like a big match sort of feel, get the crowd really hyped up, and then you end with a bang. I hope the people there weren't absolutely knackered by the end. I mean, it was a 4.5 hour show. The ending is what you want the people for. But yeah, the whole show started with the Royal Rumble, the Men's Royal Rumble that was. We're not going to go through every single entrant, but yeah, I'll take forever. We did have Gunter come out at number 1 or 2, and he was in there with now. There was him. I know the Miz was 3rd. Who was first or second with Gunter? It was Sheamus, wasn't it? I believe it was Sheamus. Sheamus went really far in his Rumble. He and his new tag partner, Drew McIntyre, them two played a huge part in this match, teaming up together. We also saw, obviously, the Judgment Day teaming up quite well together. The 3 of them, Dominic Mysterio, Finn Balor and Damian Priest, to work as a team to eliminate a fair few competitors. We had the return of Edge, who came out and eliminated Finn Balor and Damian Priest. Wasn't able to get Dominic Mysterio out of there, who lasted quite a long time in all fairness. We had the appearance of Brock Lesnar. Oh god, here we go. Brock is just going to click. I mean, this was at the beginning, this was like halfway through. And I'm sure I'm not the only person who thought Brock would just clear the ring. like he has in the past. He had a couple of eliminations, nothing too much. We had Kofi and Xavier in there. We had Angelo Dawkins make a very brief appearance. I don't know why he was in. It was actually his partner, whose name escapes me. I'm not great with some of the names at the minute. Begins with an M, doesn't it? But he was the one I was looking forward to seeing, and I felt could have gone quite far. In my opinion, he is a future single star, along the lines of Big E. He's got a long way to go, but definitely a future singles champion. Everyone from that team, anyway. We had, Rey Mysterio was meant to come out at number 17. His music hit. He didn't come out. And number 18 was Dominic coming out with Rey's mask. So I think on Raw, which I've not watched yet, we'll probably see some backstage footage of Rey being taken out. I did hear something about him on the kickoff show. I didn't watch the kickoff show. I think he might have been took out on that by Dominic and Judgment Day. I could be wrong. Gunther, though, was the real star of this Rumble. We'll get into that in just a moment. We had Logan Paul come out very late on in the match and do probably the spot of the match with Ricochet, where they both, it's kind of like coast to coast, but they met in the middle of the ring. Like one was on top of one rope on one side, the other was on top of the rope on the other side, and the way, the athletic ability on them two, holy hell. And they like cross-bodied in the middle of the ring. It was bloody. I mean, I'm not a fan of Logan Paul, but as a athlete, you can't knock him at all. We had, like I said, Sheamus and Drew McIntyre. We did not see Icon Pete Dunne. I think he's got Butchins, you know. We didn't see Pete Dunne in this, or his partner, who's the English bloke, which I was quite surprised at. There's a lot of people we didn't get to see in this Rumble, which was a little bit disappointing. But Sami Zayn wasn't in it. A lot of people predicted Sami Zayn would be in the Rumble and would win it. No, he was not in this Royal Rumble. We didn't get Dexter Lumis. We got the Alpha Academy. Bear with me, I'll try and get the list of competitors so we can just read through it, because I'm going off my memory here. Let's see. Royal Rumble. Let's have a little look what it says here. See. 20. Sorry guys, I'm using my left hand here, I'm right handed. Okay. Hopefully this gives us a list of who went in what order. Here we go. Here we go. So number 1 was Gunther. Number 2 was Sheamus. Number 3 was The Miz. 4 Kofi Kingston. 5 Johnny Gargano. 6 Xavier Woods. 7 Karrion Kross. He was very underused in this match. Like, for the size of the man and what he's capable of, he was not used very well at all. He went out to a Claymore kick from Drew McIntyre. We had Chad Gable, Drew McIntyre, Santos Escobar, Angelo Dawkins, Brock Lesnar, Bobby Lashley, Baron Corbin, Seth Rollins, Otis, Rey Mysterio didn't show up, Elias, Dominic Mysterio, Finn Balor, Booker T made an appearance. Why, I don't know. Damien Priest, Montez Ford, that's the name I was looking for. Edge, Austin Theory, I also thought could have come in a lot earlier. He came in at number 25. Strange that he could have been somebody who's in there for a long time. Omos, why Omos was in that, I don't know. He's useless. Braun Strowman, Ricochet, Logan Paul, and Cody Rhodes in at number 30. I don't know why that happened either. But yeah, Gunter was the star for me of the whole Rumble. He came in at number 1. He went out at number 29. He was the second to last man. He was the last man eliminated, basically. He eliminated Sheamus, Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods, Booker T. So he eliminated four other wrestlers and got down to the last man eliminated. Logan Paul stupidly was the third to last in the ring. Just something not right about that. Logan Paul should not be the third man left in a Royal Rumble. He did the whole thing where he came from outside, like, oh no, I've not been eliminated. And, yeah, until he was then eliminated by, who eliminated him? Cody Rhodes. Yeah. I'm just looking at Logan Paul. He eliminated a couple of people in Logan Paul. Seth Rollins. Yeah, Seth was in the ring. He was like down to the final 4, I think. And Logan Paul come back in. Everyone had forgotten about Logan Paul. And he eliminated Seth Rollins. I think they're setting that up for Mania. Rollins against Paul. So the eventual winner of the Men's Royal Rumble was Cody Rhodes. I'll be honest, I was not a fan of him in AEW. I think I've done a video on here at some point talking about him. He's very, very, very boring as a wrestler. His promos don't do anything for me. I get quite disinterested in his promos. And to know that they're going ahead with Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania, the main event, not for me. That does not get me excited at all. We'll get on to how the rest of the Rumble show played out, but there is a theory. I'll probably forget to talk about it afterwards. Part 1 of that theory is that Cody Rhodes could fight or wrestle Roman Reigns on night 1 of WrestleMania. Don't forget it's a 2-night show. And night 2 could be something different altogether. I like that. I do like that idea. I do not want Cody Rhodes as a champion in WWE. As the WWE champion. No way. Yeah. So Cody came out number 30. That is, from what I remember in the past, like, or how I would think it should go, is if you come out number 30 and winning, then you're the heel. If you come out earlier on, maybe the first 10 or the first 15, and you're in there for 45 minutes and going and win it, that puts you on as out as a babyface. Just my opinion. You should not be winning as a babyface as a last entrant. The freshest man in the whole Rumble. There's just no struggle. There's no, wow, he's come through hardship to get this. Nothing at all. Yeah, so he eliminated Gunter to win the Royal Rumble. And that's how that ended. Unfortunately, it was very underwhelming. No shock surprises, no big goals from NXT. I mean, I wasn't looking for the Bushwhackers to be brought in, but I would like something a little bit better than what we got. The Women's Rumble was won by Rhea Ripley. Liv Morgan and Rhea were the first 2 in the Rumble, and they were the last 2 out of the Rumble, which was a really good, the way they played that out was pretty decent, to be fair. We had Fab, Roxanne Perez, Dakota Kai, Io Sky, Natalia, Candice LeRae, Zoe Stark, Zaya Lee, Becky Lynch, Tegan Knox, Asuka, Piper Niven, Tamina, Chelsea Green, Selena Vega, Raquel Rodriguez, Mishin. You don't know if it's Mishin or Mia Yim, do you? Lacey Evans, Michelle McCool, Indy Hartwell, Sonya Deville, Shotzi Blackheart, Nikki Cross, and the return of none other than Nia Jax. Why? I don't know. I don't think anyone knows why Nia Jax is back in wrestling, let alone in WWE. He has ended up with the last two was Ripley and Liv Morgan. The Damage Controls of Bailey, Kai, and what's her name? Shirai worked well as a team until they was eliminated. Yeah, so ended up with Ripley and Morgan the last two, and then Ripley eliminates Liv Morgan, and that's that. You know, the strongest woman in the whole thing wins the whole thing. Not much else to say. So she'll be going on to WrestleMania to fight for the women's title. In the matches, so after the men's rumble, we had a couple of matches. I think before the women's rumble, I think the first proper match on the whole show, like a singles match, was the glow in the dark match, or pitch black as it was meant to be called, between LA Knight and Bray Wyatt. Oh my God, help me. So this match was sponsored by Mountain Dew, the drink. And because of the colour of Mountain Dew, they had this match in, it wasn't completely blackness, was it? It was just like slightly dark. And the wrestlers had like, well, Ellen had luminous trunks on. Bray Wyatt had like face paint on that lit up, like the luminous, and what, it was just absolutely bloody ridiculous. Very, very short match. Bray Wyatt finishes it off with his finishing move. I forget what it's called now. The one he's been using since he was part of, you know, the original Wyatt family, or the leader of the original Wyatt family. We had Bray then chase LA Knight up the ramp afterwards and take him out with the mandible claw. That'd be Mankind's old finishing move. And then he looks up, and there's Uncle Howdy. Yep, up above. You see him in the shadows. Then Uncle Howdy jumped off quite a big height onto LA Knight. Now Uncle Howdy's not a small bloke. He's also not that accurate where he lands. He missed LA Knight by a little bit. But I do think that was a case of if he'd landed on him, he could do some serious damage. So he might have actually been very accurate and missed on purpose. I'm not too sure. And that was the end of that. What do I think, if maybe you're wondering what do I think about the Bray Wyatt character? I'll be honest, I find it quite boring. So I really enjoyed the Eater of Worlds one until that got boring with the puppets and the like kids TV show presenter vibe he was giving off. That get a bit really boring after a while for me. I got a bit fed up with the silly gimmick matches that he was doing back then. And then he come back with his new version of himself. And I quite liked the like they were giving out the little nuggets like of the teasing you. They'd be like the little barcodes on the TV that you'd see in the background of interviews, and like you could scan them and get little bits of information. That was pretty cool. And then we get to see him back. It's like, okay. And then there's this Uncle Howard's like, oh, okay, this is interesting. And then about 2 weeks later, it stopped being interesting. Because this with LA Knight has gone on for ages. And praise. I mean, for this to be his first match back in like 2 years, his first full match in 2 years, was such a letdown. Honestly, the amount of work he's putting on the build up to the presentation of the character, to then let them tell him, oh, by the way, your first match back will be a sponsored match, and you're going to glow in the dark. And for him to go along with that was shocking. I honestly thought he'd have more say in what he did with his character and his matches, etc. But clearly not. So I was very disappointed with how that came off. The fact that they're trying to include Alexa Bliss again, don't know why. I think the Eater of Worlds character went downhill with once Alexa Bliss was included in the family or whatever. She just brought down any legitimacy about this really creepy guy and his character. Like, what the hell? Why is she doing this stupidness? Just done my head in. And the fact that she's now been included again in little promos and stuff, like at the end of a match with Bianca Belair at the Rumble, there's like a little video package of her and how she'd been in the Bray's little family and stuff. It's just really not needed. So yeah, for me, and thankfully I'm not the only person who seems to have this view, there's a lot of people who believes Bray Wyatt is just, he's done. This character is done already before it's even got off the ground. For how exciting it was for the first couple of weeks, 3 or 4 months down the line maybe, and still there's been nothing, one match in that time. And a bang average match at that. I don't know how he pulls it around. I mean, was all a bit excited to find out who Uncle Howdy was, but are we really that bothered anymore? I don't know. Like I said, we had the Bliss Bianca Belair match. Bianca retains the title in a very, very average match. That was one of the matches I fell asleep through. When I rewatched it last night, the show, I just wound through that because it did not interest me in the slightest. We had, bear with me, just looking for the other matches. There was another match, weren't there? Belair against Bliss, Bray against LA Knight, the men's rumble, the women's rumble. I think that was it. And then the main event, obviously. Yeah, I don't know what matches were on the kickoff show. I'm sure there was a couple, but I've not watched that, so I can't possibly tell you what happened on there. No. But we'll get into the main event in just a moment. Okay, guys? Okay, so the main event of the Royal Rumble was what everyone tuned in for. In the past, I would have been tuning for the Rumble. It's my favourite pay-per-view WWE have ever done. I prefer it to WrestleMania. As a kid anyway, preferred it to Survivor Series, though, and SummerSlam. They were the 4 traditional pay-per-views. Rumble at the beginning of the year, followed by WrestleMania, followed by SummerSlam, followed by Survivor Series. And that's how the year would play out. And the Rumble was always my favourite thing to watch. But this main event has had the best build I've probably ever seen in WWE, or at least in modern memory anyway. The way they went from, I mean, initially I was just like, what? When I used to see bits of Sami Zayn trying to thinking with the bloodline, I was like, what the hell? Sammy was going from this to that. He was trying to set up like little stables here and there, weren't they? They was putting him in charge of one or two other people. I forget who now off the top of my head. But nothing they tried with Sammy was working at all. He was coming across as a bit of a wimp and being beaten up all the time. And then they started putting him with the bloodline. I was like, what's the need? Where's this gonna go? At the time, I wasn't considering the fact that the bloodline was the best thing WWE had going for them. Roman Reigns and his island of relevancy. The Usos, Solo joining Paul Heyman when he left Brock to side with Roman. I was watching back then when Roman was the babyface, and Heyman passed him a note basically saying, I'll turn on Brock for you, and Roman stayed as a babyface. I've done videos on here in the past saying that Roman needs to be a heel. It wasn't working as a babyface. It was the most boring babyface out there other than Cody Rhodes, in my opinion. And then they turned him heel, and it was the best thing WWE have had in the last 5 or 10 years, bar none, for me anyway. Not saying that's for everyone, but for me it is. Yeah, it's been bloody brilliant. And the payoff was on Sunday morning in the UK, Saturday night in America, was Sami Zayn finally standing up for himself and for his friend KO, Kevin Owens, to Roman Reigns. It was fantastic TV. I even tried to get my wife to watch it. You can imagine her reaction. Like, I watched it, I was like, you gotta watch this. This was brilliant. He finally stood up for himself. It's the emotion. It's the fact that he's always wanted to be in this group and they wouldn't let him be. And now, you know, he sees his friend getting beaten up and he can't stand it any longer. I was like, he's so good. He's like brilliant television. She's like, what the hell are you on about? I'm not watching this. Yeah, so, cut a long story short, KO loses to Roman Reigns. Sammy's out there with Heyman, the Usos, and Solo ain't out there. Sammy's watching his best friend of a lot of years get beaten up, and he's not stepping in because he wants to be part of the bloodline. Remember, he's only an honorary Uso at this point. And he eventually, well, Roman KO's doing alright, and then until he's not, he's out by the side of the ring, and Sami's saying, stay down, what's wrong with you, stay down. He wants Owens to stay down so he doesn't take any more of a beating. Kevin's trying to grab hold of Sami to pull himself up. Roman comes out of the ring, charges around the side and spears him through the boardings. You know, the barriers. KO's basically took out his bloody boots. Then right in front of Sami, Roman gets KO and starts slamming him backwards on the steel steps. Like, I mean, obviously it's all fake, but even though you can see his head isn't hitting the steps, it's close enough that he could have done. And just the impact, the idea of your back hitting the edges of them steel steps, holy hell, he took 2 of those. And it's like, this is too much, I was cringing watching that. I was like, if this goes wrong, it's going to hurt so bad for KO. And then Roman finishes the match in the ring, done with. Afterwards, the Usos and Solo come out. They start beating up on KO. Sami's standing by watching. Then they handcuff KO. 1 or 2 pairs of handcuffs. Handcuff him to the top of the ropes. So he's there like Jesus with his arms spread out. And the Usos give him like 10 to 15 super kicks between them. Something like that. It was at least 6 each, I reckon. is too much, let's just stop it now. And then they've put him at the corner. I think before they handcuffed him, they put him at the corner, I think it was, with the chair around his head, and done a lot of stuff to him there. I think he attack, where he calls it solo, where he runs and charges into the corner. And again, anything with a chair around the head makes me feel really cringe. Yeah, and in the end, they get Roman tells Sammy to get him a chair. Oh, that's actually during the match, and Sammy can't get a chair. And he's like, "You told me not to do anything." And I was like, "I said, get me a chair." So he tries to find a chair, and he's taking his time. The Usos, before they beat up KO, have come out to put the thing around Sammy's neck to make him a full-fledged member of the Bloodline. Roman stopped him. It's like that whole Samoan reef, or whatever you want to call it, goes around your neck. It's called a lei. I found out yesterday. Yeah, so we have KO done in. Roman then says to Sammy, "I want you to hit him over the head whilst he's handcuffed to the ropes with a chair." And Sammy's like, "There's no need, he's done, he's finished, he can't do any more, you don't need to do anymore." When Roman turns his back, Sammy whacks him in the back with the chair. He's finally grown a pair and turned on Roman. He didn't then turn on the Usos with the chair, which he needed to do to protect himself. Because the Usos have been the ones that have been there for him pretty much the whole way. Jimmy at first, wasn't it? And then eventually Jay, or the other way around. After he hits Rowan in the back with the chair, the Uso, I'll get him mixed up now, the one who was with him all along, turns on Sammy and super kicks him. We then get Solo hitting the spike, I think, on Sami Zayn. Sammy's pretty much done at this point. The Uso, who didn't want him in the group in the first place, he can't be taking any part in it. He's in a right state of shock. He just walks off. He leaves the Bloodline behind in the ring, beating up on KO and Sami Zayn. In the end, Roman is plucking off the feathers of the Samoan lei that was going to put around Sammy's neck and dropping them on the body of Sami Zayn. And that is how we got off the air with one of the best endings to a pay-per-view I've seen in a long time. I don't watch them every time, to be fair, but going back to it as a kid, this is one of the best endings I've ever seen. It was so good. It was beyond so good. It was absolutely fantastic, and I cannot wait to see what happens on SmackDown and Raw and WrestleMania and Elimination Chamber going forward. I'll probably still